I want to ask one question about Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. You said the other day that you had a talk with the secretary. Did you take him to the woodshed?
I had a talk with him, and whatever I said, I probably wouldn't be inclined to tell you. But we had a good talk.
You have 100% confidence in Pete Hegseth?
I don't have 100% confidence in anything. Okay, anything. Do I have 100%? It's a stupid question. Look,
it's a pretty important position.
No. You don't have 100%. Only a liar would say I have 100% confidence.
Now, if you're Pete Hegseth, or kind of anybody, that's not what you want to hear your president say about you. Hegseth faces mounting scrutiny for sharing advance notice of a U.S. military attack with unclassified group chats, one that inexplicably included Hegseth's wife, a former Fox News producer. There's news about her today, too, in the Washington Post, from her unorthodox influence over Pentagon affairs to the revelation that she was part of a second group chat established by her husband that included other political appointees at the Pentagon, according to two people familiar with the matter. Quote, the other group chat includes Sean Parnell, a senior advisor and spokesman, and Tammy Radabaugh, a former Fox News producer, overseeing how Pete Hegseth and the Pentagon engage with the media, these people said. All right, joining us at the table is the host of the Independent Americans podcast and founder and CEO of Independent Veterans of America, Paul Rieckhoff, and Mara Gay's with us as well. Paul, talk to me about this. I find myself at a loss for words when discussing Pete Hegseth these days because I don't know what the complaint is. Is it about Pete Hegseth and his chats? Is it about national security? Is it about the running of the very important Department of Defense? What concerns you the most here?
All of the above.
Yeah.
I think it's a consistent culture of sloppiness, incompetence, and exposure. And Signalgate is far from over. We've had no accountability. We've had no bipartisan investigations. And we don't even know what has stopped. So it appears he may still be disclosing confidential and classified information on Signal. That could be ongoing. He hardlined a specific computer into a SCIF room just so he could be on Signal. So he consistently goes around the rules that are in place to prevent people from dying.
And just to be clear, how serious is this? Because there are reasons the government has protocols about how you communicate military stuff.
This is flabbergasting. I mean, everybody across the military would be run out of town if they did this. I mean, can you imagine if Bob Gates or Dick Cheney or Don Rumsfeld or anyone else tried this crap? I mean, it's absolutely unprecedented by either party, and it continues. And I think where Hegseth is really struggling is the hits keep on coming because now they're coming from the people that he fired.
Yes.
He brought in a number of close advisors. Now they're talking to the press. They're going on Tucker Carlson. They're bombing away on Megyn Kelly. And it's surrounding him and it's consuming him. And the chaos of his own controversy is overtaking the Pentagon. And I think where Trump is really keeping an eye on things is that Pete Hegseth isn't doing as well on TV as he used to. He used to be really strong as a messenger, as a propagandist, as a spinmeister. But lately, he's looking a little rattled on TV. And that's where I think Trump may keep a short leash on him.
What's your sense of it? First of all, I almost feel like just playing something we talked about earlier in which you said, where's Congress on all this stuff? Today, as we speak, there is an effort to make sure that Democrats cannot even hold inquiries into these matters.
Right, that's right. And it's unfortunate, it's alarming, because there are many questions, even to someone who didn't cover the Pentagon, that I have, just as an ordinary journalist, for Pete Hegseth. One of those is, what led you to use Signal to begin with? Do you not trust the Pentagon's actual security apparatus? What else are you using this for? Who else is on Signal? What else are you planning on this? And why are you trying to hide this? I mean, oftentimes when you are a political journalist, you find that there are sources in certain governments, local governments, who might use their personal email to communicate. That is a problem because it's much harder for the public to find out about what they are communicating. And these people are not in charge of the nuclear codes. So this is obviously unacceptable, but there are a lot of questions that need to be answered. And Pete Hegseth should be made available to the American people to answer them. So the question then is, why is Congress not doing its job?
Paul, the way this seems to play out is information leaks out. Pete Hegseth then begins an investigation about leakers and then goes on TV. Part of the reason you're saying he seems rattled is because he's having a different conversation than the one that Mara's just asking about. People want to know what's going on in the Defense Department, and he's carrying on about disgruntled former staffers who are leakers.
Yeah, he's blocking and deflecting and continuing to try to act as though this is no big deal. And I think Trump and others are trying to spin it away, but the hits just keep on coming. Almost every 24 hours, we get a new breaking story about another element of exposure. And that's really what this is. I mean, what should be most concerning to people about the involvement of his wife is she's unvetted. She hasn't passed any security background checks. She has no formal position. She's joining him in meetings with foreign leaders. And she's a former Fox News producer. So she's kind of his handler, is what this reporting is starting to show. And what are her qualifications? What are her exposures? And all these exposures are also potentially capitalized on by the Chinese, by the Russians, by our enemies. Our enemies are celebrating the culture of sloppiness and incompetence that has defined Pete Hegseth. This was what we were concerned about before he got confirmed, and now we need to hear from people like Joni Ernst, who was the defining vote on his confirmation, and hear from Republicans about why they are confident that our national security isn't continuing to be exposed right now.
And this is part of the problem, that this is people may be cheering for the fall of certain of these cabinet secretaries, except this is the Department of Defense. This is actually really, really serious. I don't want a single day where the Department of Defense is not run properly in the United States.
Yeah, we talk about this as though it's just a cult of personality. That's a mistake. This is much more serious than this. This is not musical chairs for Donald Trump in The Apprentice. This is national security.
Right.
This is, to Paul's point, I mean, what are the exposures of the people on this Signal chat? Who else is actually getting access to U.S. classified information? And why is no one asking these questions publicly? So it's extremely disturbing.
They've also stopped doing press briefings. Used to get roughly a weekly press briefing every Friday or so. You'd have someone like Admiral Kirby come out and talk to the press. They'd make the
come on this very show.
They have completely stonewalled. Hegseth now only talks to X. He only talks to friendly press like Laura Ingraham, and he's not being held accountable by the press either. They're digging and they're trying, but he's also reducing their access. He's reducing their office space. He's making it very hard for the press to provide oversight, and that's why it's going to be more critical now than ever.
And we're not even used to the idea that, hey, you got to spend all your energy holding the actual Secretary of Defense to account, not for policy issues. That would be one thing, but for how he actually runs the Department of Defense. What a remarkable story. Stick around, both of you, please. Just ahead for us, the Supreme Court seemingly willing to open the door to using public money to fund a religious school. What happened today in oral argument?